Okay, the second session starts with characteristics of database approach. Okay, under DBMS, today we're going to discuss characteristics of the database approach. Okay, in previous session we discussed the properties. Now we'll discuss the characteristics of our database approach. Okay, in this, the first approach is self-describing. Okay, first approach is self-describing. What is this? Approaches means like whenever you create a database and a traditional file system, each user and implements the files needed to specific software applications as the part of programming. Okay, now in that, when you move on to the particular characteristics of database approaches is self-describing to avoid default or redundant efforts of our database and maintenance and the wastage of space, storage space, all these keep it in mind. And when you describe some characteristics, okay, these are the characteristics. Okay, like self-describing nature of database system. Okay, database system, self-describing nature of database system. First we'll list out, later we'll discuss one by one, or else we'll go with one by one. Okay, in self-describing nature of database system, which is a fundamental characteristics of database approach. In this, the database contains not only the database itself, but also complete definition or description of database structure and constraints, which gives complete definitions. Okay, when you define any data, okay, for which should have some facts and meaningful, and which describes complete definition and description. Okay, complete definition and description of database, and which is also stored in DBMS catalog, which is one example. Like whenever you go library management system, there might be a catalog, which book, which track, and which SBN number. All those things it will be keep track in the catalog. Okay, so by seeing catalog, you can access where that book is kept, and which is also has a metadata category, like the information stored in the catalog is a metadata. Okay, whenever you access one particular thing, like when you go to track, in that track how many books are there, what type of books, and which space, which place what book is kept, all those things will be hierarchically structured. Okay, that structured, we can sometimes it will be a type of metadata, right? One data, within that data other data or other record will be kept. Whenever a request is made to access, say, the name of the student, for example, name of the student record, the DBMS software refers to the catalog to determine the structure of the student file, and the position and the size of the name of the data, it will be data item, it will be within the student record. So next is insulation between. The second characteristics is insulation between insulation between programs and data, and data abstraction. Data abstraction. Okay, this is the second characteristics. According to the traditional file system, in a traditional file system, the structure of data files is embedded, means which is combined. Okay, in the application programs, so any changes to the structure of a file may be required to change in the programs that access that file. Okay, whenever for example, when you say which is a table of record, we might have plenty of information related to particular record, right? See, whenever you update it, any one criteria or one information, it has to be updated to the entire record. Okay, that is the case. Isolation means which is binding between the program and data. You might call code and data, right? Data means which you enter the raw data, that is called the raw data, and sometimes the program is nothing but instructions, okay, which you write it in a English like format, that is called instructions or programs. Data means when you assign some variables some value, right? So this is called raw data or actual data. And in even in DBMS we used to say instances, okay, instances and or values. Okay, so next is support of multiple views of data. Support of multiple views of data, that is another characteristic. Okay, support of multiple views of data. Okay, here support of multiple views of data means we may have a subset of databases. Okay, it may contain virtual data that is derived from the database files, but is explicitly not stored. Okay, we might have sometimes subsets of data, like when you take student, again student is in under that category. We have a lot of branch students, right? A lot of year wise students. Okay, this is what the subset it comes in the picture. Okay, the multi-user database management system, whose users have a variety of distinction. Okay, like for example, when you take okay, one user you want to access, or when you take which is a student. Okay, when you access, okay, when you take student access means there are n number of students who are accessing the same data, who are accessing same data. It might be a printing, or it might be a registering, or it might be accessing a book, or accessing any papers, online papers. All this it will be parallelly it will be doing, right? How to monitor all these? Okay, then we need a multiple views of database management system. Okay, this is another characteristic. The last one is sharing of data and multi-user transaction process. Okay, the last characteristics is fourth one, sharing of data and multi-user transaction process. Okay, sharing. Here we're going to discuss sharing concept. Okay. Any DBMS, we should have multi-user concepts. Okay, multi-user concept, like it names implies must allow multiple users to access the database at the same time. Okay, see, for example, we have a website, right, and we keep our online payment system in a particular web page, right? When multiple students are accessing, it has to be allowed. It has to be allowed to all the students to access that particular login, right? And transaction is on executing program or process. Okay, transaction is nothing but executing the program or a process, which is under execution, or which is under process. Okay, that includes one or more database accesses. Okay, a transaction includes one or more database accesses, such as reading or updating the database records. Like best example is banking system. When you go to transaction, okay, with withdrawal or deposit or getting a mini statement, it will ask to insert the card. Later it will ask the pin. Later it will ask options. Okay, then only it will be saying that transaction is completed. Okay, set of processes or set of steps are processed, then only one transaction has been completed. Okay. Okay, this completes the characteristics of database approach. Okay, we'll wind up and we'll meet you in the next session. Okay, thank you. Bye.